And I think that may be a pure diagnosis of what you know you're an alcoholic when your fraternity brothers call your dad and say you're really drinking too much. That's a bad day. That's a bad sign. Well, these two guys, who were both from Vermont, they became fast friends. They were very, very different. Dr. Bob actually had been involved in the Oxford groups. It was very interesting. He was a fairly devout guy, but could not stay sober for the life of him. Until he hooked up with another alcoholic, he wasn't able to stay sober. Once he did get sober, he stayed sober for another 15 years until his death. But Bill was kind of an ambitious, kind of a, he was a stock speculator. He was very outgoing, even though he suffered from depression and other kinds of problems later in life especially. But Dr. Bob was a small town man. He was a small town doctor, and he had a very, very humble approach to life. There was a joke years ago that if Alcoholics Anonymous had been founded by Bill Wilson alone, it would have been a fast-rising and eventually it would be a large organization that grew very quickly and then would cease to exist. And if it had just been started by Dr. Bob, it'd be a vital spiritual movement in about an 8-block radius in Akron, Ohio. That's how different those two men were. So they needed each other. And they contributed to one another. And I think Dr. Bob served as a kind of a governor for Bill Wilson. He was able to keep Bill Wilson focused. He died in 1950. As I say, he was 15 years sober. Bill, I think, never got over it. His wife Annie was a spiritual leader in the early days of Alcoholics Anonymous, and so when I mentioned that Ann went without the money, as soon as Dr. Bob got sober, he said, "We got to get busy." He said, "We got to go find somebody else," and together they went and found AA number 3. Now, Bill Wilson moved in to this house, 855 Ardmore, Bill and Ann's, or Dr. Bob and Ann Smith's house. And Bill lived there for a couple of months. He didn't go back to New York for a while. And this, some years ago, was named a historical site. I think they bought it in the mid-'80s. And so it's a museum now, and you can arrange to go to Akron, Ohio and see this house. And every year around the June 10th date, there's something called Founders Day, the 79th anniversary of